Type 1 if you're ready. All right, you guys seem ready. Got Les and Kev on YouTube there. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, no, run a little behind. Run a little behind here this morning. Sorry about that. No, it has nothing to do with the 18Z run of the GFS. What a mess. All right. I'm not even going to touch that. All right. But I will cover that time period, I promise, here in just a second. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm waving your all just Brian. Good. Welcome to Snow Talk. We do have a lot to cover. And yes, it took a while today because there's a lot to put together because this is an ever-changing setup for today. Watching Friday carefully. We got the weekend to watch, and then we'll get into long-term in the next week. And this is just all within the 10-day itself. So there's a lot to monitor. So I want you guys to do me a favor. Pay careful attention. I'm not going to be able to have a lot of chat time today, as usually the case, but especially today. So I apologize in advance. But I do see your comments, so I will try to get to some questions if I can, or if I see that someone's way off mark of what I'm trying to say, I'll try to get on here and interject. But a lot to break down. So I want you guys to help me out and just, again, pay attention to the maps and how I'm going to draw things out. If you're confused on anything, let me know. And as always, I like to start off in a chronological way on this setup. We'll begin, though, with the snowboard. Let's start there because it's still jam-packed with rain to snow showers taking place today. In fact, in about 4 hours, we will have snow into the area. And then for Friday morning, watching that carefully for what is looking more and more like an alert day set up for Friday morning. And then we get into the weekend. The weekend could trend toward an alert day setup. The weekend has got some kick to it. I'll explain. And then obviously the bigger system, the ghost system, whether it's there or not, toward the end of the month, we'll touch base on at the end. All right, outside at the moment, just been a rainy morning, right? Kind of a crummy, cloudy, drizzly type of day. Temperatures, though, have been running well above freezing, and so the pavement temperatures. This is a wild view. This is a regional radar. Yes, you can see the rain band there, but then you see this. You don't see this very often. Snow squall warnings that are out for several counties in Indiana with that push of colder air that is heading in our direction. Now, a lot of the short-term data does indicate that snow squall potential will remain elevated through at least central Indiana this afternoon. Will that be the case when it arrives here? Possibly, as we'll be at the latter portion of the day. So some of the parameters that will be kicking in for that will start to lessen their grip a bit more, but still it's worth watching. In this case, I don't think it's as much as the amount as it is really a visibility issue, because the wind right here is gusting close to 40 miles per hour. I don't think the wind's going to get to that level. And wind is the big catalyst. I mean, yes, it's snow squall parameter, but wind is the biggest catalyst there for a warning, because the wind kicks up the snow to create a very low visibility scenario. So that wind is going to be a key factor, and it's not as intense as it is up there in Indiana when it gets here. So it's something we're monitoring, especially for those of you in Indiana for this afternoon. Just if you're traveling up 65, be aware you're going to be driving right into that mess as it's moving rapidly to the south and to the east. But we got a few hours before it arrives, but it is something that will be the leading edge. Excuse me, the leading edge of the cold blast that will kick in, and it will be here really to stay, it looks like. All right, so currently there's the light rain roughly along the Ohio River and points south. You can see the rain band is already beginning to tilt. And because of it going a little more of an east-west nature to a tilted southwest to northeast orientation, that is the digging of the trough to our west, excuse me, and that is what's enhancing the wind field there into Indiana, kicking up those snow squalls that fly through the area. I think we've had I get asked this every year and I always forget. I think we've had at least one snow squall warning. I can't remember if we've had two or not, but we had the first one ever issued. That was only a couple of years ago. So they're very rare, but we'll monitor that because timing would be close to rush hour today. So at the moment, I don't think the wind will be matching the criteria for that. But do I think it's going to snow this afternoon? Yes. I think you will see snow flying this afternoon. All right, well above freezing. As you can see, 45 here in Louisville, 44 in Seymour. The temperature drop is not really going to commence until this gets a little closer to us. The wind shift is right ahead of that. So once that moves in, the temperature drop of a few degrees every single hour will commence. We'll be above freezing all the way through sunset. It'll be later on this evening that we'll start to drop below freezing. But there's going to be a lag on road conditions just because of the warm nature of the ground that we've had as of late and wet ground that we're getting now with the rain. Those work against a lot of major issues on the roads because the wind will help us out. But once we get into the overnight hours tonight and the wind relaxes, I don't see much in the action on snow showers later tonight, as what it looked like even last night for tonight's setup. Doesn't look as impressive. So if that is holding true for tonight, then if we don't add anything else out there onto their area roads, it's just an issue at that point of will the wind dry the roads up to prevent any ice from forming, especially on a bridge or an overpass. And right now, I cannot confidently say that's not going to be the case. So that's something we'll have to watch this afternoon to see how the radar trends are looking in the short-term data. But be aware that if you're working second or third shift tonight into tomorrow morning, you will find more icy patches out there than you've had in a while. So use some caution. Got to get back to our winter mindsets and certainly our early December mindset that we had too, right? All right, let me show you a Futurecast. This is going to be the HER. It's hard to show modeling this close to the issue, as you just saw there in the radar. Pretty much tells the story looking at the radar. But in general, we got the current rain moving through. There's that blast of snow showers that arrive roughly around 3, 4 o'clock. They'll be moving into our counties. Again, some of that may have a nice little kick to it. Could briefly mix in with ice pellets or sleet before it goes to snow. I think the transition, the way it's looking now, is going to be fairly rapid on its phases of quickly cooling the atmosphere down, top down, to allow for this to be snowflakes. So I don't think it's going to be too much of a mixed scenario. Should go right into it. That will continue into this evening. We'll monitor those of you in our southern counties. Believe it or not, there's actually a little bit more of a signal for this to stick a bit more in our southern counties just because we're getting to the darkness of night. Your ground temps are warm as well, so it's really all about rate. If the rate is high enough, it could briefly still accumulate. All this can accumulate anywhere, by the way. Even though we're 44, 45 now, the snow showers this afternoon, they're falling heavy enough, they can still accumulate on grassy areas, rooftops, cars, that kind of thing. So we don't really necessarily have an accumulation map out really for this afternoon, but it wouldn't surprise me that you can get some a little slush or a little bit of accumulation that could fall during the heaviest parts of that, especially if it's a snow squall type of setup. Otherwise, most of this is going to melt on contact or melt shortly after it falls. So I don't see a huge issue on accumulations with this afternoon, this evening, but more of a visibility issue. And don't be surprised if you see it starting to stick briefly before it has a chance to melt off again. But ever-changing setup. So again, that's why I was a little bit delayed today, because I'm trying to pay attention to this and also inform you all of what's coming next. So kind of everywhere. I need like 6 extra eyes today to monitor all this is the best way to word it. Okay, so there you go. There's the tonight. Now, tonight's snow shower chance was all really and highly dependent on the lake effect, streamers, and whether or not they would build in from Lake Michigan in our area or towards Cincinnati. That's been a big debate. It has eased off a bit. The wind is not, again, as strong as what it looked like before. And the wind's got to be strong to carry that moisture off of Lake Michigan all the way down, which at one point was down to Tennessee, is what it was trying to indicate. May struggle a bit. Still not going to rule it out, because high-res models are not really going to pick out an unusual lake effect streamer going way far south. That's a little odd. So it's still possible. It would be likely late evening to midnight if we were to see one that make it in our area. And it's hard to draw an accumulation map for them because they are very narrow. These are the type of streamers that move in, and there could be 1 or 2, maybe 3. But it's the type of snow where you could get a burst of snow for about, say, a half-inch amount, and you literally go to the gas station at the corner of your neighborhood, and 0 has fallen there. So it's very focused, like you always hear about in lake effect snow, right? It's all wind direction based. So if the wind direction it just shifts around just a slight bit, that changes the outlook. And if it holds steady, doesn't move, then that one spot just gets all of it. And that's where you can get, and easily in this scenario, you can easily get an inch of snow out of those streamers if they don't move. I think at the moment, because the front, the way it's moving slowly away from us as we head into tonight, the wind direction will be slowly shifting. So that's the reason why we don't think it's going to be a widespread covering of snow here, but it does limit how much can fall in one particular area. But pretty wild, very wintry fast here, guys. I mean, this is a very, we call this Whiplash Wednesday, and it's going to be definitely a whiplash compared to what you had going into work today and then getting out today, this afternoon. It's going to look and feel much different now. So just make sure you're ready for it. Thursday overall, though, doesn't look bad. It's going to be a cold day, but I think we're going to get back into a blue sky scenario and sunny. Could get a few flurries that may try to form, but don't see a lot of snow action for you Thursday. At that point, the wind direction's already shifted around enough that the streamers are not an issue, and there's not much moisture left to generate snow showers, so it's mainly a dry day for tomorrow. All right, then we get into Thursday night and Friday, and this is where we are trending toward an alert day setup. I would say it's about a 70% chance it's going to be. And it's not so much the amount, it's the idea that we're going to get really cold here for Thursday night, especially. We're going to be dropping down. Well, even tonight we'll be in the 20s, and then we'll be dropping into the 20s again for Thursday night. Hold on, I think I got a, is that a spammer? I haven't had one of those in a while. Excuse me, hold on one second. Let me see if I can get them out of here. All right, they're gone. Sorry about that, guys. We hadn't had one of those in a while. Okay, timing on the snow for Thursday night, Friday morning. This is going to be after a lot of you go to bed Thursday night. That's a problem, because then we'll move in for the morning commute on Friday. Now, I know right now the kids and teachers are like, what would you say? Snow on Friday morning? Yes. This is going to be generally light snow, but we will be below freezing. And the ground will have a good 24 to 36 hours of freezing up, getting colder. After a warm ground today, the ground will start getting colder and colder, setting the stage for this, for Friday morning. And that timing I don't like at all, at 4 to 5 a.m. when everyone's heading out. That could be a problem for 6 spots in the area. And that may continue through about mid-morning on Friday before we actually warm up, because this is going to be a warm front moving in. So we will actually warm throughout the day. So right now I'm thinking on accumulation, instead of less than an inch, I'm thinking this is going to be like around an inch potential out of this. It's very close to the threshold for a winter weather advisory. I know the Weather Service is considering one, even though it's not going to technically hit criteria in all areas. It's just the idea of what I just described to you, which is what our criteria is, and that's an impact for a morning commute like that will likely be felt. So again, chance that this is a good chance it's going to be an alert day for Friday morning. So kind of plan accordingly. Take it slow Friday morning. And again, snow amount, very light overall, but we will be warming. So any issues we get Friday morning will be alleviated as the morning wears on, as we'll climb. Some of the data tries to even get us in the mid 40s Friday afternoon. A little suspect of that. I think it'll be a lot lower. I'm thinking upper 30s, but above freezing. So that should start to help out area roadways. Any questions on today's setup or Friday morning before I get to the weekend? Whose birthday is it? Somebody has a birthday, right? You have a church meeting at 7 p.m. You should be fine. Again, I don't suspect slick roads in this, Todd. This is going to be more of an issue of visibility with some of these snow showers. Just be careful traveling. Visibility may not be the best, but as far as not being able to get around, that's not the scenario for tonight. You'll be able to get around. It's just going to be slow going. You guys are talking about the ATC GFS. All right. Let's ignore that. Let's ignore that model. Let's not make it worse than what the hype has already been. There were more posts about shutting down the hype of it than the actual hype of it. Don't understand that sometimes, but whatever. Okay. Everyone seems good, right? Oh, tomorrow's your birthday, Cap. All right. Well, happy early birthday. All right. Let's get into the weekend. The weekend is interesting because we have another low pressure moving through that's going to kick up more snow showers. These will actually have a nice little kick to them as we head into Saturday morning, especially. Snow squall warnings. Could more of them get issued in the Ohio Valley? I think so. Parameters are all looking good for it. And this will continue to be the case all the way through Saturday afternoon. May not have as much action on Sunday the way it's looking now. The model ends there. We may start shutting it down a bit more on Sunday. So I'm thinking more Saturday than Sunday would be your snowier of the 2 days. Even that being at play, again, it's light accumulations. This will be on top of whatever happens to fall on Friday. But again, we're going to go above freezing Friday, so that can melt off. So we may just keep resetting the snowboard and have to keep adding back on. So while you see some snowfall maps, it's accumulative on some of the maps you may be seeing online. I don't think it's really going to be a cumulative type of snowfall over the entire period. I think there will be some compacting, some melting that will happen. So you got to go with snow depth forecast more than anything. But anyway, having said that, I do think more accumulation, especially on Saturday, can be felt. And interestingly enough, looking at the snow squall parameter, if you guys are not used to seeing that, we don't show it too often because it's not always a huge factor. I know this is hard to read. This is going to be from the NAM model for Saturday. And here's the GFS on the right. Anytime you get into the lighter blues, it gets your attention. You get into purple, and you're getting up there. You get into the really bright purple, then you've got a very high confidence set up for snow squalls. And you see, and it may be hard to really see that. I really am sorry. I should have zoomed in more. But it is, the NAM anyway, really likes the purple being over, I would say, central Kentucky and East Kentucky. The GFS is more of the lighter blue. So, and GFS tends to be a little weaker on snow squall parameter anyway versus the NAM. But they're both elevated, and they're both interesting. And we're not alone. Again, many areas in the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes may face this, especially on Saturday. So we'll watch it and see, but could be visibility issues at times. I mean, you may bust out in sunshine on Saturday, and then you're back to snow, covers the ground, a half-inch falls, and then you're back to sun again, and then you're back to snow again with another half-inch. It will be that back and forth with a lot of wind blowing everything around. So not a very pleasant Saturday the way it's looking now, because it's going to be so off and on, but it could cause some impact. So again, I'm not ruling out Saturday for an alert day for travel, but given it's a weekend, not many people are traveling as much. So that one's a little more questionable. Okay. Here is the Euro on a wider view. That shows the wave moving in on Saturday. You see the snow showers wrapping around it. All right, we get into Sunday. Starts to ease down a bit. Here comes another little wave here, late Sunday and Monday. But this one likely will stay a little more north. And that's going to be the big question for not only Sunday, but for really through about Wednesday of next week on whether or not we get additional snow chances will be whether or not this trough is still deep enough. And you got to look at this as a giant hurricane, if you will, giant circulation. That circulation is going to be on the retreat, starting to move away. The mothership is heading away back toward Nova Scotia. As it does so, it will take the constant flow of snow showers that are going around and around and around with it as it drifts. If it's slower to drift away from us than expected, then yes, we will have to keep the snow showers in play for Sunday and maybe even the Monday and Tuesday of next week, because we'll still be within range. And right now, the modeling is back and forth on that. Some take it a little slower on pushing it away, some a little faster. Cold air domes like this are usually slow to push away compared to the model. So I think the Euro may be a little too fast, but in general, that's going to be the make or break on a snow chance for the second half of the weekend. And next week, early next week, will be whether or not we feel confident that we'll still be in the snow train zone or not. But these will all still be light, off and on snow showers, that type of ordeal. Otherwise, cold. Lows at night into the teens. Some of you may drop in single digits, to be honest. And wind chills certainly have a chance to hit or even drop below zero during this time. So it is going to be cold for the holiday and early next week there. Okay, after that, we get into the end of, or approaching the last week of January. Notice the retreat that happens. We do thaw out. The rain snow line, that blue line, has now passed to our north. We're relaxing the pattern here. We're getting milder air flowing into the country. That's very important because now we're going to set the stage for the cold air to drop in a little more to our west. And this is what is going to generate a typical mid-latitude cyclone. Is going to react to that because there's going to be a very tight temperature gradient here from warmer weather south to very cold weather Arctic air on the northern side. That automatically induces a low pressure to form, and you're going to get precipitation all over the place. Rain, thunderstorms, snow, sleet, freezing rain. This one's going to likely have it all. As always the case, where are we going to fit in on that whole mix? I'll try to explain that here in just a second. There's your tease. I do want to show you another piece of data on the snow chances that I think is very helpful. I love this, to be honest. This is the GFS ensembles. You're reading this time. I know you can't see the times, but this is, basically today going all the way through about the middle and end of next week. Blue is snow. Green is rain. Purple is anything other than the two, right? And notice today, it's got that green going to blue. So you see the rain going to snow. There's your snow chance as we enter Friday into the weekend. And then next week, it's not really sure what to do with it. But you certainly see the green leading the way at the end where that warming trend right at the end of that kicks up. This is your snowfall potential. And again, this is cumulative here on the GFS. So could get, less than an inch today, could add another inch or so Friday into Saturday, maybe another minor amount in the next week. So in general, it's only going to give us that range is about a couple of inches is what it's indicating. The main black line is what its average is that it's coming up with that we could see. Again, that's not what likely could be on the ground. It's just that what could fall. Because on the ground, you're going to get some melting on the front end, especially here, and some compacting initially. And some of this will blow around because of the wind. Yeah, the ranges do go up there. I mean, there are some that say we could get, more than that, closer to 3 to 4 inches. That's on the higher end. But notice there are no ensembles that say we get nothing. So we're going to get something out of this type of pattern. It's just a matter now of how much. Here is the matrix from the Euro. This is for getting into the weekend setup mainly. Very high confidence. Notice a few blues are showing up now, indicating now that we got it mainly filled in, we can start looking at the numbers and the colors, indicating an inch, maybe up to 2 inches could fall out of this very congested setup. It's not very focused right over the dates. It's kind of staggered a little bit left and right because of the snow shower activity being at various times of the day. So it's kind of blotchy through there. But in general, it is going to be the start there of the weekend that we're talking about. All right, we get into next week. It gets a little iffy whether or not we're in the Clipper land or not. And then as we get to the end of the month, it sees the potential, but it's not there yet. It's just not there on really arranging confidence in the amounts. And here's why. This is one of the bigger debates on how this is going to play out for the end of January. And I think this is going to be a forecast that's going to get a lot of attention for a while, as it should. I mean, it's going to be a fairly big system, but it's going to take some time to get sorted out. This was yesterday's run. And this is the North Pole up here, all right? So this is the North Pole. We are right about here. This is where we're located at. All right. Not always does the blue necessarily mean cold and red means warm, but for this case, yes, we'll go with that. And notice that both of them have the ridge, the southeast ridge, on the East Coast and the southeast corner of the country. They both have that. That is absolutely crucial on getting a bigger system. And for those that want a big snow, as I always say, you've got to get the warm air involved. But it comes at a price. That price would be whether it's borderline, so you end up with ice, or it's too much warm air and it's plain rain. Nothing but rain. May end as snow, but mainly rain. That's the risk you got. But if you want the bigger snow, you've got to take that chance. And that's still the same. And I don't think that's going to change. I think we're going to see that ridge in the southeast part of the country hold in the future. The problem is the ridge here that goes up Alaska into Canada. Yesterday it's strong, absolutely, but it's still allowed for the cold Arctic air to sink south. When you have a look here where it looks like a pair of eyes looking at you, but one's blue, one's red. When you have the pair of eyes looking at you, that is a sign of a significant storm system likely in the lower 48. But when you look at the morning run today of the same spot, okay, it's kind of there, but they're a little disjointed. Maybe a little bit more of a lazy eye, and I have lazy eye, so I can say that. So because it's not lined up just right, the storm has a chance to form a little more north, and therefore it likes more of a rain idea. But this is absolutely going to be how we're going to look at this, is the ridging into Canada. We already know we got the ridging that matters as you get into the Greenland area. We know we got the southeast ridge. I doubt that's going to change at all. It's really just going to be whether or not the cold air will be able to advance into the central and southern United States in advance of that, or will it be very slow to arrive, and therefore the system will form and will likely be a rain to snow ordeal. Way too early. This is going to take several more days to get down to the nitty gritty. So be patient, but I think a storm system is likely to form. I think the pattern is right for that in this setup. And I just don't know the finer details. No one does, but it'll be fun to watch. Stressful, but, kind of fun. All right, so let me get into the 10-day. Any questions I can answer on that or anything else? I think I covered most of that. That is Carrie, that's more of a heights map. So you're looking at just the anomaly, basically whether or not you have unusual amount of high pressure or unusual amount of low pressure. And the brighter the colors are, the more unusual it is to have it happen. So when you have those two extremes like that, that's what leads to a storm to form in the lower 48. If you have to, let's see, what do you say? If you have to smell the rain to see the snow. There's one way to look at it. Hey, Kentucky Joe, hope you're doing well. On your dad's birthday, January 27th. Well, hope you get something too. ZK, any sleet? Sleet is a risk, absolutely. Anytime you deal with a strong setup like that, all the types are on the table. And yes, you could have one that, as we've seen many times, indicates snow, and you get right to the event, and it's a sleet storm and not snow, and your snow forecast is busted. That is a risk when you deal with warm air like that. Everything is on the table right now. I am not saying there's a snowstorm on the way. I'm not saying there's an ice storm on the way. I'm not saying there's going to be flooding and severe weather. I'm saying that it is going to be active at the end of the month, and it does bear watching. It's my PC way of trying to explain that. But I am not going to wish cast the snowstorm or an ice storm or anything like that. I don't think I'd really wish cast an ice storm, but I can't do that. I'm just trying to give you the facts of what the data shows now and my theory of where I think this is going to go and what we've seen in the past. And my gut feeling, based on seeing this before, is that this is going to be a large system with all types, and it can go many ways for Louisville. But the Southeast Ridge, it could be a good friend to you, but it can be your thorn. And unfortunately, we have to have that, though, to get anything interesting. Travis, I got a bear of a snow squall up there. Yeah, you're right, Travis. It's pretty wild up there. Wind gusts into 40 miles per hour. Keep us updated, Travis. I know you're up there right in that zone, that snow squall area. Can the southeast, Cameron, lost your comment. I know you said it somewhere, but the southeast, or Jeremy did, sorry. Can the southeast ridge push the storm further north completely? I don't think it's going to push more north. If anything, with Arctic attacks like this, the southeast ridge could shift a little more east and southeast. That would only allow for the colder air to dive even more south, and that would take away a little bit more of the risk of it being other than snow. It would move the snow ice line south of us. We would be all snow if the ridge is a little more absent. If it's stronger than expected, rain. If it's weaker than expected, mainly snow. If it's in the middle, everything in between. And right now, it's too early. It's when you're about 10 days out, even small, teeny tiny differences in the modeling would just create wild outcomes. As you guys know from last night, you're going to get these wild switches. I mean, you're going to get model whiplash. It's stressful to model sometimes update 4 times a day because you guys get ready. You're going to be emotionally drained the next several days. All right. There you go, guys. I'm going to leave it at that for now because I got only a few minutes and I got to get ready to get on the air for the newscast. But I want to at least touch base with you on where we stand as we evolve through the next several days. While we are watching that system into the mouth, we can't discount today. We got to keep an eye on the snow showers and squalls moving into Indiana, and we need to watch Friday morning for the potential for some problems there for Friday morning snow. And then the weekend, we'll monitor that. I think all these chances you see in the 10-day are going to go up. Because of the snow showers, and then just very cold this weekend. So make sure you're prepared for that. We're going to spend a few days below freezing altogether. All right, guys, take it easy. I will be back coming up on 11 a.m. on midday. All right, I'll see you then.